I've been taking stock of my friends and what's going on in our lives and everything. And just, I'll say that as men, we collectively don't seem to be doing well. Like, things are rough in lots of different areas, lots of categories. In the jeopardy of men, we are in jeopardy. Near every facet of life feels like more confusing, more difficult to navigate in a way that feels like you are definitely doing the right thing. I do believe that lots of people are doing their best, truly. I just also think that... Okay, as an example, I can't read a map. I can't, like, you give me even if you gave me a map of this building and pointed to where I was right now and told me to get to a specific bathroom, I'm probably gonna end up outside. Like, I cannot seem to read a map. As much as I try, I end up turning it. Okay, so I tried to be a Boy Scout for a little while. It was terrible. And because when you try to be a Boy Scout, like when you really trying to go for all the badges at once, everything, and you really not getting anything, you are just being a problem in the woods. And one of the things was, like, I could not work a compass because I was like, so it's supposed to go in every time, right? And they were like, no, it's supposed to show you where north is by how it's positioned, but it doesn't have to point north every time. I'm like, oh, okay, because it's dangling. And they were like, well, did you let a magnet touch it or something? And I was like, I don't see what that should have to do with anything. Like, they're like, no, well, the compass works off, like, the poles of so if you touch it with a magnet, it confuses the... So you got a piece of paper telling me where I am and where I need to get, and then you gave me a cup of metal that points anywhere it wants to. And somehow I'm the one that doesn't know what he's doing. Why are we even in the woods right now? We live inside. Have you ever thought of that? Try as I might, I could not read a map. Even if you lay the thing out where I needed to go, where I was now, and the way to get there, it's like in practice. I couldn't close that gap in my mind because I knew that the map is a suggestion. It's a good one, but the map doesn't have to do all these steps. Even the compass is a tool, but if it's spinning, we might as well be Pirates of the Caribbean or something. Like, this thing doesn't help me at all. I don't know where it's pointing, and it won't be still. I'm being still, it won't be still. How does that work? Is north moving? Is north on its own journey? Try as I might, I could not seem to read a map, and that is what it feels like to, at least to me, be a man now. There's a map, and the map is laid out with lots of good suggestions, and you even get tools along the way to make sure that you get to where you want to be, which is being a successful man, being a good man, being a respected man. But then in actual practice, walking that road, you're like, look, the paper says. But when I look around, it's tough. It is, especially with love. Like in regards to like love, attraction, seeking someone out and meeting someone you like, trying to take it to another level. It can be difficult because if you are, I won't even say good, if you are at least a regular man, bad men have ruined everything for you. And I'm not talking about the like, but I'm a good guy. I'm talking about if you are just a regular tax-paying citizen who doesn't do any crimes and is generally nice to people, maybe a wave. Not even talking about a good, outstanding man. If you're just a regular guy, bad men have ruined everything for you already before you got there, right? It's like they showed up in the room right before you and farted. And then you walk in and you can't prove it's not you. But you know it's not you. You know you didn't do anything. And the bad man that farted has already left the room. We're all living in his wake. And it's hard to find the actual bad man sometimes because he's stealthy. It's disguised. You know what I mean? You'd have to follow him around all day. You'd have to follow him every waking minute just to have the proof that he's a bad man. You would. That's why it takes years sometimes to figure people out. You'd have to hunt him down and then take the picture and run into the room and be like, he was eating beans. Those were his farts. You just have guys that maybe don't have someone to tell them how to go about life, like that, whether you call it a father figure or just like friends in general that can be that sort of guiding light of here's how you handle each situation, especially when it comes to dating. Like who you pick to be with is a huge part of your life because it's gonna be most of your life picking people, and we're not doing fantastic. And I say that as like not from a place of judgment, just from looking around. It's pretty apparent. You look at the internet is fueled with so much anger, like so much hate. A lot of it is resentment for what people don't have or don't feel like they can get, and it leads people to not take care of themselves. One of the most attractive things you can do is take care of yourself. Just let the water. I can tell exactly how depressed my friends are by how it smells when I walk in their apartment. Do you know what I mean? Like every once in a while you get like a little whiff here and there, and it's like, you just came back from a game of pickup basketball. It's gonna be like that in here. And then sometimes you visit a buddy and you're like, ooh, she left. Yep, she's gone. Like, I have friends who, you know, obviously, friends that are trying to date everybody across the spectrum. But one thing that I have found as a point of frustration is when people don't listen to me about things that feel, they feel pretty apparent. You can take my advice, you cannot take my advice. It doesn't actually affect me. I just want people to be happy, right? And so a good example is like when your friend says he's got a date and that she's coming over, and you're like, here. And then he has the nerve to be like, what? No. You know what? Here is what? What is here? Or then I'll have a conversation, especially, I'll have a conversation with some of the women that I know in my life that will not believe me when I give them advice about men. But I have no ulterior motive. I'm just like, hey, this thing is happening. Just so you know, I'm trying to be helpful. And it's weird because we as people accept a lot of things as an idea, in a big way, right? So you'll hear the old men are dogs, blah, blah, blah. Every man wants one thing. All guys are after the same thing. And those are almost principles that people live by. But then when you tell your friend, hey, that's a dog. And then she's like, no, not Mark. He's so sweet. It's like, what are you doing? We just established that and there's a level of frustration that comes with that when it would be like if someone came to you, right? Like a dog owner came to you and they were like, I don't know why my dog is doing this thing. And then you told them because you're someone who has trained dogs, been around dogs a lot. So you're like, this is why your dog is doing it. Oh, you also in this scenario happen to be a dog. So then you're a dog that's trained dogs and been around dogs all your life, telling someone, because you are a talking dog, you can speak, telling them why this dog is doing that thing. And then they're like, no. That doesn't sound right. But it is. It is. No, not Mark. He's so sweet. I've known him for so long. I'm telling you, that's a dog. Not Mark. Mark is the sweetest. You don't know him like I know him. Like, I don't need to know him at all. I know the 4 facts you've told me about Mark, so I know exactly what Mark is trying to do. No, not sweet Mark. I'm like, you need to stop calling him Mark. From now on, his name is That is a dog. You wouldn't believe the conversations I've had trying to be helpful. You know what I mean? Like, especially in like high school, you know, like college. You know, you try to help your friends and everything. Conversation. Wait, you mean to tell me that this guy is just hanging around me and secretly wants to be with me and is willing to be friends with me for years just so that he might have a chance, be my friend throughout all of my other relationships, and likes to go on these, like, not quite dates, but mini dates where we go to the movies together and then we get dinner and then we go back to my place and hang out and then fall asleep together. You mean to tell me that guy is trying to be with me? He thinks about being with me all the time. He wants to hang out with me more even. He always seems a little sullen and slow to text back when I start dating a new guy, but that's just because he's busy. There's no way that he wants to be with me. And then I have to be like, yeah, what do you think I'm doing? Oh, it's tough. And one of the things that makes it tough for like boys, but especially young men, is that there isn't a sort of roadmap, and I don't expect there to be, because like human connection is so nuanced, and what people mean to each other is going to be different by a different degree for every person. But I think that in like popular culture and as a general narrative, we have started to just straight up vilify a man's attraction in general. And it's something that I don't know how you recover from if that's the narrative that's out there. And I understand why people are hesitant. It's a thin line. It's a very thin line to walk as a dude who is attracted to someone and trying to act on that thing. Try and let them know you're interested, trying to make the first move. It's a tightrope, and it's scary to do. Not just because rejection is scary, but the thing you do next will determine how they feel about you probably forever. Because there's not a lot of going back you can do if you're friends and then you try to be more, or if you shoot your shot with a person you don't even know. All that stuff takes a lot of bravery. And it's not always going to be done right, especially when you're young, you're making mistakes, you know? Like, I remember in class, my buddy, he had the biggest crush on this girl, you know, and we're young, and he didn't know what to do with all that pent-up energy, so he's daydreaming, and he starts drawing her. Decides to draw her, and draws a beautiful picture of her, right? Like, got her hair as if it was blowing in the wind, got her face perfect. He was a really, really talented artist, right? So he drew her, and he drew him. And then, just by happenstance, because he was so lost in it, he didn't catch that the bell had rung. And so we're all getting up, we're all leaving, and then she passes his desk. She sees it, and she's like, "Hey, is that me?" And he has to be like, oh, yeah. And he had drawn her so beautifully. She was genuinely touched. She was like, "That's amazing. You're so talented. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful." And I don't know, I think she was just so taken aback, because none of us knew he could draw that well, you know? And so she was like, can I have it? And he was like, yeah. And he was leaning on his desk right next to where he was finishing up some touches on her. And he's like, yeah, but now he doesn't want to move. Because he also drew him next to her. And he drew a version of him that is unrecognizable. He drew a version of him with abs. Y'all, we're 13. He drew a version of him with abs, with boulder shoulders, like truly looking like an anime character, just jacked, top to bottom, knuckles jacked, everything. Had the big old muscle behind the ear, everything. Hair flowing too, hair almost as good as hers. But you know, people are walking out, and he already said that she could have it. And so she's like, "Can I have it?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." Leans up a little bit, and so she finally sees the other side, and she's like, "Oh." Is that you? And my man sat there and was like, nah, like that's just the, you know, the type of dude I want you to find. You know what I mean? Like somebody that, you know what I mean, like you really deserve, you know what I mean? Like you know, just somebody you might meet one day who's right in front of you. Because so much of attraction is about timing. We don't give timing enough credit. there's all this stuff like if one guy does one thing and another guy does the same thing, and the woman goes for one of the guys, it's because he's more attractive and the other guy's creepy, or we've seen this sort of narrative play out over and over again. But what we don't talk about in those situations is the timing. When did this person say this thing? When did this person say this thing? When did this person do this thing? When did the other person do it? So much of attraction is about timing. And I've talked to my friends, and I've asked them before. I'm like, what are you even looking for in a guy? And I'm like, I just want like an honest guy. And I was like, I'm gonna stop you right there. Because so many men are such freaks that you really gotta parse out the honesty over time. Some people think that omission is dishonesty, right? But omission might be why you're in a relationship. Because if you knew top to bottom who they were immediately, it might make you hesitate. I'm not saying lie. I'm not saying be a liar. I'm saying that honesty comes to a point. Let's say you meet someone. You meet someone that you very much like, and maybe it's just off of the connection, seeing each other from across the room. He walks over and he says to you plainly, "Hi, my name, right? I don't know you, but I'd like to. Would you have dinner with me? I think that we could have a really good time." You know what I mean? You see that thing alone. I feel like that's almost perfect. That's like out of a movie, right? But an honest man, a truly honest man, walks up to you. Honest from the bottom of his heart. Doesn't know how to lie. It doesn't come naturally to him. An honest man walks up to you and says, Hi, I just noticed you, and I know I don't know you, but I'd like to. And I'd love to take you out sometime, if that's okay. And I'll suck your toes if you let me. Do you see where he should have stopped? Do you see where a certain amount of honesty was too much? It was true in both cases, but one guy had the common sense to stop talking at a certain point. Honesty is important. Honesty is very important. But I also think if you're being honest with a person and you're being self-aware at the same time, there are things that you omit on the front end until you get to know them. Some people think omission is lying, but I think omission timed well is like the appropriate time to tell someone something. You start dating a guy, maybe it's going really well. Maybe it's a week, 2 weeks in, slept over a few times. You wake up, you roll over, he's like waking up as well, and he's like, "Hey, you want breakfast? I make some mean pancakes." Perfect. Wake up next to an honest man. You're waking up. You roll over, he's waking up. He's like, "Hey, you hungry? I make some mean pancakes, and I've actually been awake for an hour. I was just smelling your hair." Been dating somebody for a little bit. You're texting, "Oh, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. Miss you. Miss you too. Oh, how'd you sleep last night? Oh, slept okay. You have any dreams? Yeah, actually I did. What'd you dream about? Dreamed about you." Good place to stop. Fantastic place to stop. This is where you stop. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Oh, I'm good. Just, waking up. Oh, you have any dreams? Yeah, dreams. What did you dream about? Oh, I dreamed about you. Oh, really? Yeah, I dreamed about you, and we went on vacation together, and then we actually had this like whole vacation plan. We were in like the Virgin Islands, and then I got us this like surfing lesson because we had talked on the day of I want to surf. I don't know why I was dreaming about surfing, but I dreamed that we were doing this like surfing lesson together, and then like the surf instructor was like kind of hitting on you a little bit, and then like you were able to surf really well, like you took to it like a duck to water, and I was like over here falling all the time, and because you were doing so well, he was giving you extra tips, so he basically spent the entire lesson just giving you attention and everything, and then I was like fighting to not drown and just sort of laying on the board the whole time and everything, and then afterwards, after the lesson was over, he like slipped you his number, and so then we went to dinner, and while we were waiting on our food, I was like, oh, I'll be right back, and then I left the restaurant and I tracked him down, and I had a little conversation with him about trying to steal people's girlfriends during surfing lessons, if that's something that he really does, and if he does it often. He's like, no, and I'm like, yeah, and then we took another little surfing lesson. We took a little trip down to the beach, and I just sort of pushed his, where the sand and the water sort of splash, where the wet sand was, I just sort of pushed his head into the water until the tide was sort of going over it, and so I couldn't really tell if there were bubbles or not because there's so much wet sand and everything, but I just sort of held it there until he stopped struggling, and then I woke up. I think it's important to be honest. I do. I just think it's important to be self-aware too. I'm not saying be a liar. I'm just saying like check yourself. Check in with yourself. Know who you are. Know what that's gonna sound like depending on the timing. Timing is everything. It's so important. When I was in high school, my boy, he finally asked this girl out that he had a crush on for a couple years, right? Finally just went for it. Something about summer just made him a new man. Asked her out, and she said yes. Oh, we're off to a great start. Asked her out, asked her to a movie. Asked her to a movie, and she said she wanted to see Spider-Man. Okay, great choice. Phenomenal date. We both like Spider-Man. We don't have a lot of life experience. We're crossing over heavily. So he said he'd take her to see Spider-Man, take her to the movies to see Spider-Man. That was their date. What she didn't know, what he did was he didn't just buy their tickets to see Spider-Man, he bought out the theater. And timing is everything. Because they get there and sitting down, lights get low, previews even start, and she was like, wow, I thought other people want to see Spider-Man. I thought it was a pretty popular movie and everything. And then he turns to her. With a biblical lack of self-awareness. After she says, I thought other people would have been in the theater, with us wanting to see Spider-Man. I've been hearing about it all week. He turns to her and he goes, oh, I made sure nobody would be here. Why even word it like that? What are you doing? He said that as soon as he said it, he saw the look on her face. He said it felt like she was waiting the whole movie for Spider-Man to rescue her. And that's why timing is so important. Because depending on when you do something like that, depends on how it comes off. This is a first date. Do you know what I mean? Even there are some people who would find that sort of gesture romantic if you said, oh, I'll take you to see Spider-Man. And I'll make sure we get our own private theater. Ooh, okay. That's different. But saying I'm going to take you to see Spider-Man and not telling her no one else will be there, even as you sit down, they have the popcorn, the drinks, everything. Middle of the movie, makes his move, tries to put that arm around her, right? And because there was so much room in the theater, she did sit one seat away. Because once he said it, I don't think, he just couldn't save it. There was no aspect of the rest of the movie where he wasn't like, you're locked in here with me. He said he had to keep turning to her the whole movie when stuff would happen, be like, crazy. It's wild, right? You know. Oh. And so it can feel sometimes a bit hard to find your footing when it comes to attraction, because everyone, from the people closest to you to the people far away, feel far away. If you don't really know how to connect, and especially now, we've built a sort of like scary parasocial connection with people that we're attracted to that they can't possibly know on the other end. And then it comes out in comments online, it comes out sometimes in whole articles. There's a line between like fascination and then crossing over into something pretty weird. I don't know if y'all saw, but apparently Sydney Sweeney, the actress Sydney Sweeney, is going to be selling bars of soap that contain her bathwater. Now, if you don't know who Sydney Sweeney is, she is an actress that is like, not just like an A-list actress, she is her generation's like top bombshell. Like, people have been freaking out and lusting over Sydney Sweeney for a long time. And it is pretty creepy. It's like, don't get me wrong, she is a beautiful woman, but the way the internet makes sure that someone that you haven't met doesn't feel like a person to you is like why we have the sort of conversations we have. Because Sydney Sweeney is in not just lots of movies. She's in, Handmaid's Tale. She's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She was in Madam Web. She just has range, right? She does a lot. And the way that people, every time she is on camera, every time she's even mentioned, the way that people, almost as like an understood, acceptable amount of creepiness creep on her, has been something that's like compounded over time. Like, she was in Euphoria, and then she was in other projects, and it compounded, and it started to like become exponentially creepy. And I think that this bathwater soap thing is brilliant on her part, because now she'll know the 5,000 men that need to be put on a list. Like, trust me when I tell you, if you buy Sydney Sweeney's bathwater soap, you will never meet Sydney Sweeney. That's gonna be her hit list right there. It's insane. It's truly wild. 5,000 bars. It's gonna go in a second. It's not even out yet. It doesn't come out till later. Just the anticipation is like going viral. And I don't know. We might be in a very bad place we can't recover from. You know, 5,000 bars. I'm assuming they're only gonna let one person have each bar. Just get as many people on the registry as possible. I don't even know what you would do with you. Like, that's something you would get caught with. If as a man you bought Sydney Sweeney's bathwater soap, you can't let anyone in your life know you have it. That's everyone gonna look at you different. Because they'll know, as soon as they see it, they'll know some things about you. Like, you were at your laptop ready. I suppose 5,000 men who are in a rough place are going to be buying this bathwater soap, which doesn't even make logical sense. It's dirty soap. And I say 5,000 men because I'm not saying that there's no women who have a crush on, Sydney Sweeney. I'm just saying that as men, we are both grosser and more practiced at using our laptops for these exact things. I'll tell you something that I don't even honestly, if I'm being 100% with you, I don't even know if I can word this correctly so you understand what I'm saying. I know a man who knows his favorite page of an adult website by the URL by heart. That is absolutely insane. Do you know how down bad thirsty you have to be to remember http://baddiesonrollerskates.com semicolon bracket B12 %, parentheses 2. I'm wondering how we got here. Truly, I'm wondering how we got here, not just as a society, but with the promotion, with the soap company. How did this happen? Because you know it wasn't Sydney Sweeney's idea. Sydney Sweeney didn't roll up in there like, you know what people love? Me. You know what I can spare? Bathwater. Let's sell it. That's business. I think a sick man, a definitely sweating man with an unfortunate voice said to Sydney Sweeney at a meeting, look, look, young lady. I believe, and this is just Jebediah Jones talking, all right? Because a lot of nasty men talk about themselves in the third person. This is just Jebediah Jones talking. But I believe that people would pay for your bathwater. We make soap. You bathe. Let's make some money. Like truly, I think that's how it went down. You know? Because even in the tweets that I've seen about it, I think these are Sydney's words because they're in the quotations. But you know, in it, she's sort of playing off of the idea that this is a thing that people have talked about on the internet before, and she's like, well, you know, this is something people have been asked for. Figured it'd be a fun way to do it. I hope it just makes men think about taking care of themselves because I've been in some pretty gross dudes' bathrooms. That completely flipped the script for me. When I read that, I was like, what disgusting man made Sydney Sweeney go, I gotta do something. Sydney Sweeney is in your bathroom just looking around like, the ceiling get dirty? No, I wonder what experience Sydney Sweeney had where she was like, I gotta do something, all right? I gotta figure it out. How can I get men to bathe? I'll do anything to get men to take a shower. Fellas, we're in a bad way. Because you know fundamentally every man that buys that bar soap needs it. This is rough. This is really rough. You know? Because even with that general idea, right? When you hear that as a man and you tell other men, guys, Sydney Sweeney put her bath water in soap to get you to buy soap. Because she just wants you to take care of yourself. Dudes are so delusional. They'd be like, she cares about me? Wow. I like to check in on my friends. I was texting a friend. I'll read it to you. I was texting. No, I told him I was going to do it. It's fine. I was texting a friend and I was like, hey, did you see the Sydney Sweeney bathwater thing? This is crazy, right? Like, we're truly down bad as a nation and as a people. And then he responded, yeah, I can't believe it doesn't come out till June 6th.
Josh Johnson!
I don't know. Yeah, maybe y'all saw, maybe you didn't see. Maybe, I mean, people can only watch so much news, you know? But y'all saw the president at the UN. This is... I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, "Oh, did you see what happened at the UN?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see what happened at the UN." And they explained to me that, you know, he was getting on escalator, and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, I thought it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator. You have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, this is gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech for the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, you know, uploaded to teleprompter, then teleprompter breaks, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching, like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like, you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech, you can tell every speech, he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? You know the president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job of the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter is broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it, you know? And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. And then proceeds to, you know, give this address to the UN, and Depending on who you talk to. Depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, you know, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN. Everyone's here. He's over here like, I inherited a mess and we fixed it, and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world, and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does it mean, the hottest? This is also wild because, like, you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? And then dude's over here. I ended like 7 wars. And it's just funny because, like, everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even, what did I say? Nah, it was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was this good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN, just sitting there, you just sitting there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS, or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. You know? Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. It was like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. No one gathered everybody together, got the press conference going on. Oh, yeah. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were going to talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. You know Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And like, why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, like, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from like Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? Like, if we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is? He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man is out here. If you want to, if you don't, look, if you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I wish, like, I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like, he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like, he looked wild, and nobody addressing it. Nobody's saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he's been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug, because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here. Let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear. I got him over here being purple. Let me work. It goes up, starts the speech. It's rolling. It's rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently too, just over here, asymptotes, and it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. Acetone, acetone, I knew when he looked around we were cooked. Like I knew it. When that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. Acetaminophen, Tylenol, and like that. That is also wild too. gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full Tylenol. And he was hitting those T's, that Tylenol, extra hard. He was getting his payback with those T's. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol, because it was rough. It was like you've been in third grade before. You remember when a teacher, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up. And you would do a thing. Somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's going to last till the end of class. So you literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like the bell going to ring here. Sometimes to be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities. You do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up. And as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start and he would be sounding it out and then hit the word and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word, sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last three words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, it's A. You already hit it. It's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read. When I was a kid, I could read. Very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time. Especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could like, factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. And for the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem, but I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know this is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, the Amish, don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? My man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general, and just started saying like, look, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person, he's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there on the edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug, and you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. He almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we gotta do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again, and now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish, and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her to say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. He over here supposed to be a doctor, got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, you know? Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have. Is part of the truce, you know? It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies. Y'all just be bad in school and we'll pay the bills. And look, I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, you know, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, you know, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, you know? I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there, trying to do my algebra like zzz, 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 zzz. And so then the kids come back to school, and, you know, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, you know, maybe aren't as affected as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You know? You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, cinematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like if he's like, hey, hey, y'all chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on, where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, you know. You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here, you know. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, like, you know, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little bit, shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, all right, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here. Ooh, look at you, stinky, ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here, ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate this, come to this, I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it, all right? I'm not gonna lose my voice this week because y'all don't wanna learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's going to get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder. And as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around. Hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now. I've only been in Grand Rapids for what, like, I guess you could say a day and a half, and I get it. I do get it. Like, I understand. Y'all can stop now. I understand. You don't have to be nice to me anymore. Y'all come in aggressive. Y'all are like truly like an opposite New York. Y'all come in real hot with how nice you are. Like it's in a way that's like, look, it's functional. Y'all clearly have a society here. It is good. But is it not exhausting to just be trying to help? My shoe was untied. Okay, my shoe, I was walking and my shoe was untied. I was getting to the light as I was walking and a guy was like, oh, your shoe is untied. But he pointed so low that I couldn't tell if he thought I didn't know where my shoe was or if he was about to tie it for me. Because my man, he's like, your shoe is untied. I was like, oh. Because I feel like I'm nice. I feel like I'm a generally nice person. So I don't really get why y'all trying to outdo me at every time. I'm like one of the nicest people in New York. And then I come here and I'm like, yeah, y'all win. This is genuinely a lot. I appreciate it though. It's nice to get a break. It's nice to get a break from like eye contact leading to a fight. I was on the bus. A lot of my stories that are in New York start on the train or bus because my life is not going as well as I'd like. Very few things I tell you about will be in a car. I was on the bus and I was just sitting there and I think I was on my phone or something. And I just casually looked up. I don't even know why I looked up. There was no noise, there was no anything, but I just casually looked up and there was one dude across from me already looking at me. So I look up and our eyes meet and he goes, "What'd you say?" I'm like, there's no way. There's no way you thought I said anything. It's just a lot, you know. Like, I've been there for years now. I've been here for, day and a half. And it just, okay. Like, y'all won't even let somebody be lost. That's too helpful. Gotta let people make their own mistakes. Because admittedly, I was lost. But I wasn't lost in like a cartoonish way. I wasn't lost like a 20 silent film, you know what I mean? I wasn't like... I just looked down at my phone and looked up and looked down at my phone, and when I looked up again, there was just a guy there. And he wasn't just there, he was like, "Can I help you?" And I was like, does this dude work at Grand Rapids? It felt like y'all just hire a bunch of Walmart greeters to be outside. Because it's just unsettling, you know? And so I'm clearly lost, you know? If I'm lost from this far away, then I just admit it. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get over here. And he's like, oh, it's right around the corner, I'll show you. And then he walked with me. To which I was like, does he need to go there too? What's the plan here? And then Then we get there, it's across the street, and he points to it. And when he pointed to it, I looked over, and I was like, oh yeah, well thanks man, thanks so much. And I turned around, and he was gone. And that's honestly the most upsetting part of the story. Because now I'm like, did I imagine him? Because I don't know, I've lived in New York for years now. And I love living in New York, but I think, this is going to sound like an ironic thing to say, but I think I love living in New York because I'm not infatuated with the idea of New York, right? New York has a long, beautiful history. There's a place where there's a lot of opportunity and everything, but it's also going to be a little dirty. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of people. You're going to get pushed around a lot as people go about their way. It's just a place on earth, you know? I'm not so excited to be there. Because some people are. You've seen some people move to a place like New York and they're like, oh my God, it's happening. I'm in New York City. And you're like, chill that, all right? You gonna get robbed. They're like, but we're in Times Square. It's all happening. It's like, they gonna get both of us. Because you over here acting brand new, all right? I almost got robbed. My first month living in New York, I almost got robbed. I was walking home after work, and I had not had a good day, you know? And this guy walked up and just punched me in the nose. It turns out that's all it takes. I'm not much of a fighter. If you punch me in the nose, I will sit down. It's almost immediate. It's a reflex, really, because this man punched me in the nose and I sat down on a fence immediately. And I don't know if I said it out loud or I just thought in my head, but when he punched me, I was like, I need a minute. And it didn't help that when he punched me in the nose, I grabbed my nose like the daintiest way possible. Like all fingers were out. This is the most Victorian way to try to stop a nosebleed. This is devastating. I didn't even know this is what I do in that situation. I was just sort of put there, and then this is how I reacted. You know what I mean? So I'm over here clenching my nose as hard as I can. Like, I wonder what it was like from his perspective. Like, if he punched me in the nose and then immediately saw me grab it like this, it was like, did he already have a nosebleed coming? Like, how did he... But this dude punched me in the nose. I sat down, and out of nowhere, this dude, huge dude, ran up and pushed this dude out of the way. And he pushed him so hard, he pushed him down, right? And so he slammed to the ground. He looked up. He saw that big dude. He must have thought we were friends. And so he took off. But I'm sitting there wondering if I look like such an easy target that somebody saw me getting robbed and was like, I could do better. Yeah. And it's funny because I was not having a good day at all. I was new to New York. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a good day at work. I didn't like the place that I was staying. And I feel like a pretty positive person, but everything was happening all at once to make me feel like just in a rut. Like, I try to wake up, be optimistic and everything, but the day it beat me down. I was just like, I remember I was thinking before this guy walked up to me when I was just walking home, I was thinking, this is the worst. This is like the worst, you know? And I was never thinking of like going back to Chicago or anything, but I was like, this is just the worst. And then I got punched in the nose and I sat down and I was like, this is worse. You really shouldn't tempt fate with superlatives. This is way worse. Because at the time, I didn't have that many of my uniforms, so if I bled on my uniform, I would just look freshly punched at work tomorrow. And I remember this big dude standing over me, right? And he's like, hey, are you okay? Are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be fine. Oh, thank goodness you were here. And he was like, yeah, man, I just can't believe that. Like, I was just at the right place, the right time. I mean, honestly, I'm a little shooken up. That's never happened to me before. That I've been able to, like, help somebody like that. And I was like, yes, thank goodness you were here. He would have been very upset. I only have $6. My man is towering over me, and he's just like, yeah, I've just never been in a situation where I could just help somebody out of nowhere, because honestly, I haven't always made the best decisions in life, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, he about to rob me. I gave up the game too quickly, and he has now realized he could be $6 richer. And he's just standing over me. He's like, you know, it just feels like the universe put me here in this moment to help you, brought us together. You know, sometimes that happens. In fact, have you heard the good word of the god Oxnif? The god Oxnif of the planet Mars? And I was sitting there like, this is worse. Oh, this is way worse. And I just sat there for 10 minutes listening to this man's cult speech. It's like, if you could please just rob me. Because there's a lot going on in New York. There's a lot of crime. There's crime to the point that the governor saw fit to dispatch 1,000 National Guard to the subway to combat the crime, combat the violence and stuff. And as someone who lives in New York, I'm not gonna lie to you, I have not seen one of them this entire time. I feel like they went down to the subway, they looked around, they were like, forget this. I haven't seen a scratch of camo since I've been down there. Because I've been looking for them too. Sometimes something will happen, I'm like, oh. No. Because, you know, New York, we have a lot of crime, but we also got weird crime. We got some of the weirdest crimes you can imagine. A dude in the Bronx got robbed with a cowbell. And I know you're thinking how, but look, it's metal, it hurts. And especially as a cowbell literally ringing while you getting hit, you must think like, where are these cows? You get your bell rung in the back of the head by a cowbell, you're like, where is it? Am I getting stumped out by cows right now? There was one dude that got a bunch of assault charges because he was he was throwing marbles in front of anybody that walked in front of him. That is a genuinely hilarious crime. It's one of the funniest assaults you'll ever hear about. Because at first, when I first heard about it, I was like, these YouTubers are getting out of control. All right, somebody needs to rein them in. It wasn't even that. This kid did not have a camera. He was just being the change he wanted to see in the world. He was out here throwing the bar. People, oh!